We are rubbish at predicting the future. We are rubbish at predicting the future. And the strongest evidence in support of this argument is the fact that if you look at any book, any Hollywood film that imagined what the future might be like, not one of them predicted the innovation that changed everything. Not one of them predicted the internet. And while people were dreaming of hoverboards and flying cars, no one even conceived of the possibility that you could be pretty much anywhere on the face of this planet and have the world's knowledge in the palm of your hand. We are rubbish at predicting the future, but the good news is we are brilliant at creating it. And the internet gives the lie to the biggest myth about innovation. And that's that new ideas are all about one brilliant creative genius. Because the truth is that ideas that have truly changed the world, from the car to the internet, have been collective endeavors. And it's that insight that sits at the heart of our New Futures program, Creating Our Future. Because we know that housing associations are incredibly well placed to create the future. We are driven by a shared sense of social purpose. As Dinah said, we're ambitious organisations. It's fitting that our sector vision is called an ambition to deliver. We have assets and a business model that works. We have roots into communities in every part of the country. We have the relationships to make change happen. But more than that, innovation is part of our sector's DNA. Many of us were founded by social innovators. Many more continue to find new ways to tackle the big social challenges that our communities face. But what we've never managed to do is take all that purpose, that resource, and that expertise and focus it in on a sector-wide level to find new ways to tackle the big social challenges we face. Until now. Creating Our Future will tap into the energy and the enthusiasm of people from all parts and all levels within our organisations to better understand those trends shaping the future, and crucially, to both develop and implement groundbreaking ideas in response to them. Or to put it more simply, we're going to come together to co-create ideas to change the world. But what do we mean by change the world? What world do we want to create? And what do we think needs changing? We've spoken to hundreds of housing association staff at all levels, tenants and residents across the country, as well as people from outside our sector, from think tanks to startups to people in government. And what you've said is that we can do even more to improve people's lives without government, without anybody else, by thinking differently about our homes, our services, and our roots in communities. And when it came to our homes, you said that the promise we make of a home to call your own has been taken away from an entire generation of young people. But that we can do something about that by thinking differently, both about how we build, but also about tenure. And you talked about the challenge of an aging world, and as we're getting older, our homes are becoming less suited to our needs, but we don't want to move. But that we can do something about that by thinking differently about how homes can adapt as people's needs change, and by giving people real choice as they get older. And when it came to services, you talked about how far too many people in our communities feel powerless, feel done to by systems beyond their control, but that we can do something about that by reimagining our services in a way that puts individuals in the driving seat. And when it comes to care, you talked about how people know they need that extra help and support, but they want it on their terms, but that we can do something about that by giving people real control of their care. And finally, when it comes to communities, you talked about how we've become a divided nation, but that we can do something about that by supporting people to see difference not as a battle for scarce resource, but rather as an opportunity to learn something new. And you talked about how we're creating an economy for the future, but that we're not inviting everyone to take part, but that we can do something about that by helping equip people with the skills that they need for a changing world, and by ensuring that when they develop those skills, they don't need to move away from the communities they've grown up with and love just to be able to use them. We have worked with innovation experts to develop an 18-month process to co-create ideas in response to those challenges. From now until the end of the year, we'll be running ideas labs across the country, interactive workshops for staff at all levels to generate lots and lots and lots of ideas in response to these challenges. In all of your packs, there is an invitation. Please think, who is the person in your organisation who should be there? And please, please get them along. We'll take the best of those ideas next year to Future Hack, a 3-day event where we'll bring together teams of people from housing associations, from the Federation, and from outside our sector to take those early ideas and turn them into initial prototypes. We're then looking for pioneering members to help us incubate those ideas, committing serious resource in terms of people and time to develop, trial, test these ideas in partnership with tenants and residents, ready for implementation, not just in their organisation, but within the sector as a whole. And this will all culminate in 18 months' time at Futures Expo, where we will present our ideas to change the world back to the sector, but crucially to the outside world. Now, the final thing I'd say is, this is a learning process. No one has ever tried to do social innovation, finding new ways to tackle the big social challenges we face on a sector-wide level. No one has ever tried it at this scale. So one thing is certain. Where we end up in 18 months' time will be different to what we might predict today. But that is no surprise, because we know we are rubbish at predicting the future. But the good news is we are brilliant at creating it.